guys! From all of us at BKFK, we wish a huge BKFK happy birthday to Alison, William, and Ralph. And we would like to give a roaring and monstrous BKFK shout out to Elise and Elspeth. You guys are amazing! And thanks for joining the BKFK community.
Hello BKFK listeners, it's almost Christmas. We have been working hard to make it as special and magical as possible. Firstly, we are running a special offer from today until the end of this year. Join us on Patreon and you will receive our free 24-page BKFK printable activity book based on our Christmas story, The Elves and the Shoemaker. That's a free activity book for all new patrons from now until the end of the year. And secondly, we have the perfect Christmas gift for you. We have produced a new personalized Christmas audiobook with a child of your choice coming to the rescue of Santa Claus. And with this Christmas bundle, you also get access to almost 60 extra BKFK episodes, all read-alongs and coloring in pages too, and a shout-out on the show. Now that's a perfect Christmas gift. To find out more, just go to bykids4kids.co or search for By Kids 4 Kids Storytime on patreon.com. On today's episode, we are joined by
David Liam. I'm 8 years old. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I really like baseball and family time.
My name is Diva Srivastav. I am 9 years old. I really love to craft, make up new stories, write new stories, tell new stories.
Hello, my name is Mira. I'm 6 years old. I live in New Jersey. My favorite thing is to play with my sister.
Hi, I'm Santi, and I'm 9 and I like video games, and I'm from Australia.
It's great to have such wonderfully talented kids on our team. And at last, now Ruby, over to you.
The Woman Who Fooled the Fairies. Many years ago, there was a baker named Bella who made the most delicious cakes imaginable. Her cakes were works of art. They were so beautiful that it seemed a shame to bite into them. However, all who beheld them eventually could not resist taking a nibble. And when they did, they could not help but close their eyes in pleasure, as they got lost in a wonderland of flavor. So sweet, so delectable, quite simply, yummy! Everyone from far and wide came to gather in Bella's cake shop.
Oh, Edna,
Gasped one old lady.
have you tried the strawberry sunrise cake? It's to die for.
Oh, Gladys,
Said Edna.
it looks marvelous, but the rainbow dream cake is quite irresistible.
They finished off their cakes and collapsed in their chairs with groans of pleasure.
Yum, 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 yum. Shall we have a second helping?
Asked Edna with a glint in her eye.
It would be silly not to.
Laughed Gladys, and they both stood up to order another piece of cake. Now, little did they know it, but they were being watched. The daily gatherings around the cake shop had attracted the attention of a small tribe of fairies. They were desperate to try the delicious cakes. However, fairies, as you probably know, try to avoid direct contact with humans. So they would sneak in after closing time. but were always disappointed that there was never any cake left. Not even the smallest crumb. With each day, their desire grew stronger and stronger, until one day the leader of the fairies said,
Enough! We need a change of plan.
She raised her eyebrows mischievously and said,
Fortunately for us, I have one.
The next day, Bella set off on her bicycle for her daily deliveries. She had baked a chocolate volcano cake for Edna's knitting club. She had just turned down a quiet country lane when she saw a small figure lying on the ground in the middle of the path. She stopped her bike and got off to have a look. Her eyes grew wider as she came closer. It was a small human-shaped figure about the size of a cat, with the most beautiful butterfly wings. It appeared to be asleep.
A fairy!
She gasped in wonder. She bent down to have a closer look. She reached down. As she did so, the fairy's eyes shot open, and she threw a handful of glittering dust in the air and blew it in Bella's face. The world began to turn upside down. Her vision became blurry.
Oh, I must lie down. Getting so sleepy.
She muttered as she collapsed onto the ground and fell asleep. She woke up to the sound of loud chanting. She was lying in a strange-looking cave, lit by a magical light. She blinked as her eyes adjusted while the chanting got louder. She looked around and saw that she was surrounded by 6 or 7 small tables. And on each table were teapots, teacups, small plates, and little forks. And at each table sat a group of angry-looking fairies, banging their fists and glaring at her while chanting. When Bella stood up, the leader of the fairies held up a hand and the chanting stopped.
My dear lady,
She said,
we are sorry gonna change for this, but we did what we had to do. I'm afraid that you now work for us. We demand cake.
With that, the angry mob of fairies cheered and then continued their chanting.
Cake! Cake! Cake!
Bella recovered from her shock and then cried,
All right. Settle down, settle down.
The fairies stopped.
Why, you poor little things. You think of me baking cakes for everyone else and none for you. It would be my pleasure to make you cake. Now, first things first, I'll need some ingredients. I'll need some flour, some eggs, and some sugar.
The fairies looked uncertainly at each other.
We haven't got any?
Said the leader.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do much without those.
Said Bella.
You'll have to fly to my kitchen and fetch them.
So a small group of fairies fluttered off while the rest remained to keep watch over Bella and make sure she didn't escape. They softly continued their chant as they waited. Soon, they returned with the ingredients.
Excellent!
Said Bella, tightening her apron around her waist and tying back her hair.
Now fetch me a mixing bowl, a wooden spoon, and a whisk.
The leader turned to the others and began whispering. Eventually, she turned back and said,
We don't actually have those either.
Well, off you go then. They're on the top shelf of my kitchen.
So again, they whizzed off while the chanting continued, but this time a little softer. A while later, they returned, and Bella began sifting and mixing and whisking until,
Oh no!
she said,
I need my cat. I can't ever seem to mix a cake without my cat purring beside me.
so off they went and returned with the cat, who soon settled down and lay purring beside Bella.
Good.
She said,
Oh, but I'm so sorry. My baby is teething. The poor boy will be in such distress. Just go and fetch him so I can soothe him as I bake.
the leader of the fairies sighed and then sped off to fetch the baby. By this time, the chanting had completely stopped, and some of the fairies had fallen asleep at their tables, waiting for their cake. When the baby returned, it was delighted by its journey with the fairies and began to noisily babble. Bella gave him a wooden spoon to play with, which he began to joyfully bang around. He accidentally hit the tail of the sleeping cat, which began screeching in surprise. The screeching set the baby off, and he began to cry.
Not to worry.
Shouted Bella over the noise.
Now where is your oven?
The leader threw her hand in the air in frustration.
We haven't got one.
By this stage, the other fairies had their fingers in their ears to block out the dreadful noise.
Pardon. I didn't hear you.
Shouted Bella.
I said we haven't got one.
Cried the fairy.
Well, I'm afraid I can't very well make a cake without an oven. Look, why don't you just take me and my baby and the cat and everything else back to my kitchen and I can make it for you there.
The leader looked around at her friends, who all nodded furiously. They were all so desperate for the noise to stop that they whizzed around as fast as they could, and in a short time they had returned Bella and everything else to her kitchen.
Now, you can all wait in the front while I put this in the oven.
The fairies agreed, and all settled down and happily began to chant again.
Cake, 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 cake.
Soon the cake was served. They laughed and giggled as they ate and ate. It was the sweetest, most delicious cake that they had ever tasted.
Now I'll make a deal with you. You really didn't need to kidnap me. All you needed to do was to ask. From now on, after closing time, I will leave a cake out, especially for you.
And so she did. Every evening, she left a different cake for them and closed her kitchen door. As she walked home, she sometimes heard a faint noise in the distance. And every morning, when she entered her kitchen, she found a small silver coin where the cake had been.
Hey guys, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family. It is one of the best ways to support BKFK Storytime.